It's now time to decode the Trump tax on remittances and how it's set to impact the Indians that are there. Well, it's a new financial storm, quite literally, that's brewing for millions of Indians in America. President Trump's one big, beautiful bill that's just passed a crucial vote. It comes with a stunning new tax. If passed, this law would slap a 5% tax on every dollar that's sent abroad by non-citizens, from H-1B workers to green card holders. That's right, no exemptions, not even for small amounts. Last year alone, Indian origin residents in the US sent over $32 billion home. Under this bill, they would lose more than $1.6 billion instantly. Remember the tax that is proposed. But the bill doesn't stop at just taxing your wallet. It would pour about $46 billion into Trump's border wall, deportation. That's where all this money is going to go. Remember, he's putting in billions of dollars in those immigration-related policies, and he's got to come up with ways to find new money. And this is one such money proposition that he's looking at. But I want to now talk about how this is going to impact Indians. Remember, there's a very large diaspora that lives there. Most of them are immigrants who are either H-1B holders or they are green card holders, and which is why what is happening is going to impact Indians very significantly. Before I get in the big questions, on your screen is we put up a case study. The average salary for a techie in the US is in the range of about $90,000 to $100,000. Let's assume it is about $90,000. If you take away living expenses and education and other expenses, he is in a position, or she is in a position, to send back close to $50,000 as remittances on the higher side. If she's able to do that, then the tax would be 5% on this amount, which is $2,500, a little over 2 lakh rupees. Why? Why is this being taxed? Why skilled labor is being targeted? Those are some of the big questions that we're going to put forth. And let's quickly put that out before we get into important voices from the diaspora to decode this. Well, first up, why is it that NRIs are set to face the heat over this new tax? The scale of the impact is the next question that we are putting out. Next up, make America wealthy again is a burden that rests on the shoulders of the high-performing, high-skilled Indian immigrants. And lastly, how will this impact the Indian techies, the H-1Bs? And the big question that we must always, of course, also point out and ask, which is that, is the American dream in its present state over for a lot of those Indians there? Joining me are two very important diaspora voices to understand this in greater detail. I have with me Dr. Bharat Barai, who's the chairman of the US India Community Foundation, and Pramit, Maakoday, president, Global Citizen Forum, co-founder of the Boston Center of Excellence. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on this edition of India Global. Dr. Barai, let me start with you, sir. If this tax does come through, it will be a bit of a blow, isn't it, for people who want to work there and send back money, isn't it?
I think this is ridiculous. For US budget of $7.3 trillion, it's going to add something like $2 billion to $3 billion total, all the remittances. By the way, the Mexicans are number one when it comes to sending the residences. And these are low-skilled workers who work in the farms or in the factories. And whatever is their savings, they try to send it to their families. In case of Indians, it's going to affect more people who are on green card, H-1B visa holders, or students who are working on OPT and trying to send their loan money back. So I think this is a very ridiculous thing, and it has not passed yet, except that last night, Sunday night in the Budget Committee, it was advanced to the full House for consideration. I hope it does not pass, but because this is such a small amount in the total thing, it may pass anyway. But this is very unfair, especially to the people who are making less amount of money and trying to support their relatives or trying to pay back their student loans.
Indeed. Pramit, Maakoday, you want to come in on there, your response on something like this. Gains may be very limited, but the downside would be disproportionate to all those immigrants wanting a better life for themselves and their family back home.
And certainly, I do agree that this is going to be a setback to a lot of Indian Americans who are living here. But we need to also understand the broader context that Trump 2.0, it was very clearly mentioned that it is going to be America first. It is going to be make America great again. And he has very categorically said that one of the important tasks is to make the balance sheet right. We have 34 trillion plus dollar of deficit. So there will be many more measures that we will see. But the good part here, what I see is that this is not an executive order. So you still have a chance that we can debate, we can lobby, and people like me and Barai Saab and many others, including the diplomatic channels of India, we need to use that and make sure that we talk with the congressmen, we talk with the senators, and tell them the human side of it as well. That Indian Americans, when they come to America, mostly on H-1B visa workers who will get impacted the most, they are not coming to America just by themselves, because America has a shortage of skilled labor, and that's why we are here. And if we are contributing significantly to the American economy, that's where we need to be seen in a different angle. And we need to educate the congressman. And there is a good chance that we might be able to reduce this percentage. We are talking about right now 5% of the remittance tax, or there is a chance that we can reduce it, or we can get the recredit back, because it is not just the remittances right now. There are, as you have mentioned, the path to citizenship or path to green card is a very long path in America. So many of them who worked here for 6 years, 8 years, even 10, 12 years, they don't get a citizenship. They have a significant contribution to their 401k account,
Absolutely.
to their IRA account, and to their social security account. Now, if the legitimate account that they have and the savings that they have, where the America is not giving any benefits and reaping the benefits of their contribution for so long, if that get taxed by 5%, it's totally unfair.
It is unfair,
so I think there is a good
unwarranted.
chance.
Hold your thought there, sir. I want to get in, Dr. Barai, on the fact that what are the possibilities of something like this actually going through? Because, like you mentioned, even the Mexican political leadership, Mexican president is extremely upset. There's a very large section of Indians who are, up in arms about a proposal like this. What are the odds of something like this actually passing through?
Well, it may pass through, though we will try to get it overturned or removed, because it has a small impact in total US budget, as I said, about 2.5 billion out of 7.3 trillion of budget. Second thing, this tax applies to non-citizens only. So if I send the money as US citizen to my family, then it will not be taxed, but it will be taxed only to green card holders, H-1B visa holders, and people who are on student visa. Now, the way Trump has tried to put it in the budget, those illegal sending money abroad, so it has been put nicely to try to deceive the lawmakers, but it applies really to all non-citizens. So we'll try our best. I would say there is 50-50 chance that it will pass, because he will claim that this is the money that will be used for better control of immigration and building the wall. Let's see. We'll try.
Which brings me to ask a question to both of you, in fact. Pramit, let me start with you, and then I ask this question to Dr. Barai as well, which is that, is Trump fanning these anti-immigrant sentiments even more? And, it started with illegals, but this is not illegals anymore, right? This is about legal immigrants. Even there, is he fanning an anti-immigrant sentiment?
I think that one of the side effects of all these type of bills is there will be anti-immigrant sentiment that is definitely getting in more prominence, which is not good. And but as I said, the overall context is very clear right from beginning when he won the election, from the election night speech till the date. Whatever he talks, he has to balance the balance sheet. He has to bring down the deficit. He has to act very conclusively and strictly on the illegal immigrants. All these measures deter the illegal immigrants, but unfortunately, the legal immigrants and the Indians in particular, if they are getting impacted, it is job of ours, including the Indian diplomatic mission and people, community leaders like me, Dr. Barai and many others, that we need to work towards how to bring a fair and just thing for our Indian immigrants and not to get caught up with all these bills which are putting us on the wrong side of the equation.
Dr. Barai, you want to come in there, sir, on the anti-immigrant sentiment when it comes to the legal community as well?
You know, this is kind of very strange. Trump's wife, she is an immigrant from Slovenia. Trump's mother, she was an immigrant from Scotland. His top advisor, Elon Musk, he is an immigrant from South Africa. Many of his technical advisors, they are immigrants from somewhere. So why he is trying to pitch it in? Now, he is not trying to call it against immigrants because many of these so-called immigrants are also US citizens now. They will say, oh, it does not apply to US citizens. It only applies to people who have not become US citizens. So, as I said, this is very ridiculous on his part because of the very minimal impact, favorable impact on the budget. And yes, you are right that it may sort of form kind of anti-immigrant sentiment, but really that is not the case, Gaurie. I've been living in US now for 50 years, and we are part of the society. There are some white extremists, but they are very few in number because most of the Americans, their life is impacted by people who are here. For example, doctors. There is 1 out of 10 doctors in USA is an immigrant from India, maybe citizen now. So they do come across people who are not white skinned for their medical care, and same way in the universities. So it's not so much of anti-immigrant, but Trump is trying to use this card for useless purpose of generating $2 billion in a $7.3 trillion budget. But you are right, it may sort of, this may be a work of so-called MAGA Republicans. That's a small section of Trump supporters called Make America Great Again, who are sort of considered white extremists.
All right. Quick closing comments. Mr. Maakoday, from you, very quickly, sir. If you were to advise anybody who will be directly impacted by this, whether the H-1B, whether the green card holders who send money back, what would that advice be?
Don't get upset with, as I think somebody has mentioned about the American dream. The American dream is still very strong. There is a great potential of Indo-America working together, both on the technology front and the people-to-people ties. This type of taxes, I think it will be corrected, particularly when we talk with the right folks on the emotional side of it. And the people-to-people ties are going to go further stronger, and Indian and American should work very closely because the biggest elephant in the room is China and not what we are talking right now here.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so much, Dr. Barai and Mr. Maakoday, for speaking to me on India Global on a story that impacts almost every Indian who is in America, barring a few. And in fact, bottom line, viewers, as far as this story is concerned, is very simple. There are very clear 3 reasons why Donald Trump wants to tax remittances that a lot of people that they're going to be sending, but of course we talk about Indians. The reason for that, point number 1, he's come up with a gazillion immigration related policies. Someone's got to pay the bill, whether it's the border wall that he wants to construct or whether it's the number of illegals that he wants to deport. Every single thing costs money and he needs to shore up finances. This, he thinks, is probably the easiest way. Second, he's trying to very clearly now fan anti-immigrant sentiment as a whole in America. It started with illegal immigrants, but it's now about anti-immigrants in general. No distinction whatsoever. And the third thing is, let's not forget, President Trump is also trying to ensure that money doesn't leave America. When this 5% tax is imposed, even if 50%, 30% of the people who send money decide not to do so, then that money stays in America, in the American economy. And that's his third clear objective. But the impact of this would be highly skilled workers would be impacted, something that Donald Trump would not like, more so if he wants to make America great again.